Hello and welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Johnny Venerable, joined fresh off his first mandatory minicamp of the offseason, Mr. Bo Brock in studio. Bo, how are you on this fine Tuesday?
I'm good. It was great to get out there, see the franchise quarterback out there taking snaps for the Arizona Cardinals. It was hotter than shit, but I think the Arizona Cardinals they're ready to go outside of a couple, one big absence that I know is probably going to dominate our conversation today. But it was good to see K1 and his coach's comments about his future here in the desert. And then some comments from some players that we got to hear from at the end of after practice.
So real talk, we do this show every day. It's the greatest thing ever. But there are some certain days, there's not a ton to talk about. And, we figure, okay, mini camp starting, there's going to be some storylines that unfold, right? We're going to be excited, see how the development of certain players are going. And then by the time, I don't know, like 11 a.m. hit today, we had about 7 shitstorms on our hands that we have to break down and prioritize because this is a limited podcast show. We're not going to go on for 2 hours. But first things first, Bo Brock, Rodney Hudson, who has not been, we've confirmed that he hasn't been in anything this offseason. You figure he's in his 30s. He's a veteran, all pro, right? Been around the block. You don't have to come to anything, Rodney. We'll just see you at mandatory minicamp, hence the mandatory part. Well, you were texting me this morning. You're like, well, Rodney Hudson's not here. I'm like, well, that's strange. Maybe he's traveling. Maybe it's a family matter. No, that's not at all what's happening. You heard it from Kliff, Bo, unexcused, and they're working through it. This has some Robert Alford vibes, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like there's a resolution between now and maybe training camp. This thing is going to potentially linger on for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, something that flew under the radar all off season long. I mean, it got lost in the shuffle as far as people lose their mind about Kyler Murray. And now it seems like Kyler Murray, that's all but, ink on paper of a new contract. But now his old trusty center, a guy that when he was in the lineup last year, the Arizona Cardinals were at their best. I mean, he is just the absolute, the anchor of that offensive line. He's as steady as they come, perennial Pro Bowler at the center position. And now the Arizona Cardinals, they didn't have a backup center. Now they don't have a starting center. They had Justin Pugh, who would slide over from guard, and he would take some snaps at center when they were working out and running some drills today. They had, Lasidius Smith out of, was it Virginia Tech? Was it the Virginia Tech product in the late rounds of the 2022 draft? Those are your options right now. So, this is a very alarming story that we just kind of became aware of today, that the potential of Rodney Hudson not being an Arizona Cardinal is very real.
Yeah, Kliff Kingsbury, as you mentioned, took to the podium today to talk about many things, including the absence of his Pro Bowl center.
No update. We're working through something with him. As soon as we know, we'll have that update. Not excused.
Yikes, first of all. It's one thing to see those words in a tweet, and then we have the footage here on this show. Anytime you're doing this with your hand and you're just pounding the table, it's not a good look. So the vibe is not great. Rodney Hudson is one of the most important players for the Cardinals, like a DeAndre Hopkins, who's missing the first 6 games. To me, I don't know how this is anything other than, and Bo, we talked about it off air, either him not wanting to participate in offseason stuff because he's a veteran. And if I'm Kliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim, like, I don't care. And I'm not going to drag somebody through the mud because we need him. Or it's like, Rodney's like, guys, I don't even know if I want to play football anymore. He is under contract for the next 2 years. He's due $10 million this year, $8 million next year. I think most of it is guaranteed. If he wants a little bit of a raise, like the Cardinals have no leverage, right? You mentioned they have no backup. They brought in Billy Price, formerly of the New York Giants and the Cincinnati Bengals, out of Ohio State once upon a time, first rounder. He's not very good. He's a
Right.
backup in the NFL. He should not be starting games for you. Like, I put the over under this week. It's like, they're going to bring in Billy Price by the end of the week. And is he going to be taking starting reps with you next to Will Hernandez? Are we trying to recapture the magic of the Giants offensive line from last year? Because if they don't have Rodney Hudson, you talk about being susceptible to interior pressure with Aaron Donald and Armstead and those boys. Seattle's, if anything, they've got a nice defensive line. It is a hot mess disaster. And it goes to show you that with this front office, we could laud them. We were big fans of their draft, right? They didn't have a great free agency period, but I thought we rebound. They got some good talent. And since then, horrific tragedy, out of their control. Jeff Gladney passes away. DeAndre Hopkins gets suspended for 6 games. And now you have one of your best players, regardless of age, not showing up, and you're vehemently frustrated. And Kelvin Beacham's going on local radio, Arizona Sports, with Wolfley, just basically saying, like, it's a family stuff. He's going to do what he needs to do. Like, I don't know how you take this anything other. It's a disaster.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, him willing to walk away from $10 million, and he played the center position. He had a couple big money years there, Johnny, where he made $13 million total salary with the Raiders before being traded to the Arizona Cardinals. But he'd be walking away, as you said, for close to $18 million. I mean, this really has to be something, unless he feels like, hey, there's nobody on the roster that's really aiming for my position. I can take my time. I don't have to go show up and play in 110-degree heat and just wear it like I'm a rookie. And I can maybe show up when the light's going to be a little bit brighter for the regular season and know that the Arizona Cardinals would welcome him back with open arms. So I don't know what's going on. It didn't seem like, from the comments from Kelvin Beacham on Arizona Sports, or the comments. Let's hear from Justin Pugh. Also talked about Rodney Hudson in his absence today.
Rodney's my guy. Saw him a few weeks ago when I was down in Florida. Saw him, he's at my bachelor parties, at my wedding. I don't talk football with him. Sometimes when we get out of here and then we know things are going on, we don't talk football. We just kind of relax and get away from it. Obviously, we love Rodney. Wish he was here, but that's something above my pay grade. That's not a conversation that I'm going to have.
Above his pay grade.
He's not in Arizona. It doesn't sound like.
Right.
I don't think he's in. If he was in Florida for Pugh's wedding, bachelor party. We don't talk football. Like, if I was convinced, let's say Bo left the show and we didn't have answers, and Saul comes on the program and he's like unexcused, and then somebody asks me what's going on with Bo. If I felt like Bo was coming back, I would say that. I'm confident we'll see him eventually. He's ride or die. When the season begins, I know he's going to be right there next to me. No one said any of that today. And I don't know if they're worried about him losing leverage in this scenario, but it's like, if he really does want to skip mandatory minicamp, the Cardinals are known to be a little bit more of a looser establishment as it relates to Kliff Kingsbury. That's why Zach Ertz loves it here. I feel like they could work something like that out. Like, hey guys, I don't want to touch anything football related until July. And you could tell with his body language how frustrated Kliff was. I don't know how this can be taken anything other than either he wants more money, which again, the Cardinals have money, and you either have an all-pro center or you don't, or he wants to retire.
Or he wants to miss work and still get paid for it. But when you miss mandatory, this isn't missing voluntary OTAs. This is missing where you get docked for this. So, are they trying to figure out like what's going on? Why are you not here? And he's saying, well, I still want to get 100% of my paycheck. That's something that could potentially be above their pay grade, and they don't even know what to say about it. They're just going to kind of stay tight-lipped for their boy. As he said, I mean, he was in his wedding, he was at his bachelor party. He's not going to throw his guy under the bus, and they know how important he is. It's just, you hope it's leverage. You really do. You hope that there's no true threat, right? Am I right, Johnny? Man, it sets a bad precedent for the rest of the organization that guys are just like, I just don't want to show up. I just don't want to be there. I don't want to be in the heat and practicing in June when we're going to, it's going to be 2 days and then we're going to be off for the next month and a half. And then it's just the grind of the season hits.
I don't know if it's that though, because I feel like they would be okay. Something tells me they'd be okay with that. With how loose they've been with Kyler. I mean, Rodney Hudson is one of their better players.
What do you mean loose, though? What do you mean loose?
Well, I mean, Kyler hasn't had to come to anything unless he wanted to be there. He's never been put pressure on to show up that we've seen publicly, right? It's kind of come and go as you want. guy, I mean, Rodney could come and kind of like fake an injury and just be like, guys, I'm not feeling it right now. I need to rehab on my own. I also think like the Cardinals traded for Rodney Hudson last year and gave up a 3rd round pick. They have a lot invested in him because they know once upon a time, the original plan by the Raiders and John Gruden were to cut Rodney Hudson because of his salary. Had he hit the open market, he would not have been an Arizona Cardinal. He would have gone to Kansas City. That's where he started his career. He has Midwestern roots. He wanted to end up somewhere back in the Midwest. So by trading for him, they had to then convince him to take some money and stay here long term. And they were able to do that. And I think we all just assumed at that point, this is put to bed. Maybe it's not. Maybe he's saying to himself, you guys need to give me more money if I'm going to stay out here. I have no ties out here. Maybe he's trying to force his way out. Maybe he wants to go to. Here's another thing that's interesting is there are some teams now that need centers that are, right now, better teams on paper than the Arizona Cardinals. San Francisco needs a center. Maybe he's trying to force his way out. I don't agree with that, but I do believe he is unhappy with some kind of infrastructure because you don't see Kingsbury that emotional. I didn't see Kingsbury that emotional in games last year that they lost, and he takes all the blame, and he doesn't put anything on the players. He takes 100% ownership. One of the reasons I love Kliff. Today it was very much like, we're upset Rodney Hudson's not here. It's unexcused.
Let's see the clip one more time. I want to watch this body language you're talking about.
No update. We're working through something with him. As soon as we know, we'll have that update. Not excused.
He's doing this. He's doing one of these. He's doing a little bit of this.
Podcast listeners, yeah, he's just kind of throwing his arm, his hand down at the table.
What's happening?
Right.
If Kliff here, I'm gonna do an impression of Kliff. If this was okay, Rodney's he's a pro's pro. It's unexcused. We're working it out right now. We're hoping he's back. It's gonna hopefully take care of itself, right? Just like if you go back and watch those Robert Alford clips last year, it's like we expect him here. We hope he's here. We're gonna let him take care of what he needs to take care of with his family. This is very much like, guys, we're frustrated by this whole thing. I'm going to do this a couple more times. So Jalen Blair in the chat, if we're being honest, Rodney Hudson had one of his worst years last year. Well, he had COVID, right? He was learning a new system. He got dinged up a little bit, but I would agree. He wasn't Pro Bowl material last year, but man, did you see the center position each of the last couple years before they got him? Having a good center to having an average to below average center is the difference between Kyler Murray finishing the season healthy and going on injured reserve.
Yeah, we were singing the praises of AQ Shipley at one point, an undersized guy just for showing up. And Mason Cole, same thing. He got like an attendance, record, whatever. Like he played every game.
You finished the season.
Yeah, way to go, man. You played 16 games, but you weren't very good. You were penalized twice a game in the last couple of games of your Cardinal career, and then you went to Minnesota and you were a little bit better. But no, now with the potential of Rodney Hudson leaving this organization, the Arizona Cardinals offensive line immediately becomes their biggest liability.
More so than cornerback, easily more so than
defensive line. I mean, it becomes the biggest problem for the Arizona Cardinals, especially when they're about to pay Kyler Murray $40+ million a season.
Yeah, it's an issue. Justin Pugh, it's interesting in the chat. People are saying it's intriguing. I agree with that. And then you got Justin Pugh telling Darren Urban of azcardinals.com like he was going to retire this offseason.
Yeah, that was during this press conference today. Yeah, he was talking. He was in there. It was during his media availability, and that's really kind of what he led off with. He said, like, I thought last year was my final season. That's what Justin Pugh was saying. It was going to be my last year. They asked me to restructure last year. And, after that happens, that's pretty much, the writing's on the wall that you're going to be, you're one and done. But then apparently this offseason, before they went and checked out Blake Shelton at Country Thunder, Steve Keim came to him with a number that Justin Pugh liked. So, they negotiated and figured it out. And now he's back. He got married, and now he's on a track to go from 265 pounds, which is not guard playing weight, trying to get up to snuff as far as how much weight he's supposed to, that I misquoted on, by the way. He corrected me. He's gaining a pound a week, Johnny. He's eating 5,000 calories a day.
I'm doing that.
And I mean, it's not great. It's real. It's not great. It's awful. I mean, their offensive line situation is atrocious right now.
You know how many offensive linemen, folks, in the chat the Cardinals have under contract in 2023? This is how many. None of them. Not Kelvin Beachum, not Will Hernandez, we assume is going to be their right guard. We'll see. not DJ Humphries, not Rodney Hudson.
What about
if he
Josh
retires.
Jones?
Is he starting? Josh Jones isn't
Oh,
starting.
starting. Okay.
And then Justin Pugh. There's your 5, right? So we could be in a scenario in which it's only Josh Jones. I think they get something done with Humphries, because what choice do you have to not bring him back? But to me, if I'm Kyler Murray, and I ruined your perfect transition into our bite from Kliff Kingsbury, if I'm Kyler Murray, I want my money, because good hell, what kind of offensive line am I going to have this year? Kingsbury talked about Kyler's contract today.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's the leader of this franchise. You know, we're about to make him, I'm sure, the highest paid player in this franchise history. And so he understands what comes with that. And the guys know what he can be at his best. And anytime we can get the whole band out there, things pick up. I'm praying before training camp. I just want him there day one of training camp.
Me too. I would like him there. We're all going to pray. Let us pray that Kyler Murray, who has been a good soldier, I would say I'm wrong on Twitter, very few, but I was wrong about the fact that I did not believe he was going to show up without a contract. He's been a good soldier. He's there at mandatory minicamp. He was there for a little bit of OTAs. Look at this B-roll. Tremendous work by producer Jacob of our boy K1. Everything else is going to shit right now with this team. Not really, but there's number one, your franchise. That's the difference between going to the playoffs and not. For everything that's going on in the Valley, the Suns, collapse in the playoffs, Diamondbacks are under 500. You got number one, you got a chance to be pretty good. So get this deal done, please. Steve Keim, Michael Bidwell, really Michael Bidwell, Bo.
As strong as a soundbite as that is from Kliff Kingsbury, he did say more during his press availability. Like, he doesn't know if a deal's not done if he's going to be there. I mean, that's the sense I got from him. He's praying that it gets done. He's trending that way. Obviously, both sides, they're acting in good faith. We've seen Kyler now voluntary OTAs. We've seen him hang out with his teammates in the offseason. We, of course, see him get excited about Hollywood Brown. And now we see him day one of mandatory minicamp. But, Kliff didn't rule out that if there's not pen to paper on a mega deal, that he is going to show up and continue to be that good soldier come training camp. So there's certainly work to be done, because as he mentioned, he's going to be the highest paid player in franchise history. That doesn't, you don't just say, hey, just draw that contract up. Do we have that? Is there a highest paid player in franchise history contract that we can just, send to Eric Burkhart and he can figure it out? There's a lot of things that they need to negotiate and figure out between now and the end of July when they inevitably take the field.
I can't wait to open up training camp. Justin Pugh, our starting center, and then Colt McCoy under center. That'll be great. That'll be great for Valley vibes. But I do think this gets done for Michael Bidwell, especially with all this. If you lose Rodney Hudson in the next 3 weeks, right, and you got to go out and make a move. And listen, I don't want to speculate on this pod about Rodney Hudson potentially leaving the Cardinals and who they're going to sign until it actually happens, because I think they go out and sign a JT Treader or whatever his name is, or God forbid a Billy Price. Like, we know where this is trending. So I think no news is good news on the free agent front with the Cardinals and Steve Keim. But until we get to that point, I think if you're Michael Bidwell, it's like, yeah, I probably need to get this done. I probably need to strap in the month of June, get together with Eric, hammer something out so I can go full steam ahead with training camp. Listen, we're full steam ahead here with PHNX and DraftKings. Bo, I don't know if you tuned into the game last night. Made a little bit of cash on the Warriors money line -3.5, but Steph
Curry. I hope
Curry
you didn't have any Steph Curry 3 props.
I did.
Ooh.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I tried to. On Friday of last week, I tried to. Well, I did. I got 3 threes in the first half at plus money. I got a little greedy last night. I tried to do 4 threes in the first half. That did not work out for me. But Jaylen Brown didn't perform either, which was disappointing.
I mean, he had as many threes as you and I did last night. Was it the first time in 233 games without a 3? It was just that's what we call a bad beat, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get those from time to time on DraftKings, but the good news is they're constantly giving out these sweet promo codes like PHNX. So if you're ready for NBA champs to be crowned, it could happen as early as Thursday. Join the finals right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the NBA, an official sports betting partner. New customers can make any $5 bet, get $150 in free bets instantly. If you're looking to turn a small bet into a big payday during the NBA finals with DraftKings same game parlay, you can do just that. This NBA season, a customer placed a $5 same-game parlay, won over $5,000. Unbelievable, yet very believable. If you've been on DraftKings, you can create your own parlay by combining multiple bets like which team will win, total threes made, total rebounds, and more. And boom, you have a shot at an even bigger payout. It's a call to action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that promo code PHNX. Make any $5 bet during the NBA Finals. Get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customer only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for more details, Bo.
I see you drinking a Four Peaks Wow right there.
Delicious.
That's
Delicious. My new favorite.
Yeah, the Joyride Wow, unbelievable. Or is it the Joy Bus? I believe they partnered up with a charity foundation. Very cool. They partnered up with us here at PHNX Sports, which is the perfect partnership. And when you've got news like Rodney Hudson maybe exiting the Arizona Cardinals organization, you want to get yourself maybe a case of Kilt Lifter, or a case of Hazy or Peach Ale, one of Johnny's favorites, Golden Lager, Double Knot, whatever it may be, to help kind of a little tear in your beer. But regardless, you're going to have a delicious beer and some delicious food. If you want to go check out Four Peaks Brewery in Tempe, of course, down there on 8th Street, like they've been since 1996. You can check them out in the airport as well. Nice. I mean, is there anything better than an airport beer?
No, especially when you're coming to the Valley. There's nothing better than an airport beer. Depends on where. It really depends on where you're going. I guess if you're preparing for a trip, like I have to go back home. And not too long, but I'm driving with my family, so I can't have an airport beer. But typically, if I have to fly back to Illinois, I will have an airport beer just to get through my kids on an airplane.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm thinking of happier times. I'm thinking like it's tough to beat when you're going on a fun trip. Like I'm going to Hawaii next week. You brought the mood down. You brought the vibe way down. I'm trying to bring it way up. It's fantastic when you're about to go on an adventure to start it off with an airport beer. It's like up there with a shower beer. You ever had a shower beer before?
God, I don't think I've ever had a beer in the shower. Not since my not since probably my fraternity days, like maybe 12, 14 years ago. Not like as a homeowner. I don't
shower
think
beers are up there with shower hamburgers.
Can we have can the three of us get together, have a shower beer with our swim trunks on, maybe do a segment on it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm so thrown off that producer hamburgers to us.
I don't think we can sell Four Peaks on that three-way shower beer.
I think we sell a shit ton of Four Peaks.
This thing is just taking a complete left turn. I thought we were going to celebrate and all like agree that airport beers are fantastic because Four Peaks is in. It was at Terminal 4 down there at Sky Harbor. Fantastic, and the food is unbelievable. Course, we're just pumped to be partnered with Four Peaks. Must be 21 or older, of course, and enjoy responsibly our brand new partners. Four Peaks, it's right above me here on the YouTube. But we continue our conversation. It was mandatory minicamp madness today in Tempe. Here I thought, okay, it's back. I'm back on the beat. I'm here. I'm just sweating my ass off at practice. It was great to see K1 out there. It was great to see DeAndre Hopkins, who stretched with the team, and then he's still rehabbing that knee. And you've got the new additions. You got Hollywood Brown out there. You've got Trey McBride, who made a nice catch from Kyler Murray during the open portion of practice. He was looking good. He also talked to the media today. And then you start to kind of like take attendance, like I'm Ben Stein and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I start saying, Rodney Hudson's name, and I'm saying Zach Allen's name, and they're not there. Zach Allen was excused. He seems fine. I think he's just nursing that ankle injury. And then, but the Rodney Hudson thing is concerning. Also, the conversation continued with your two linebackers, Johnny, that the defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, said it's their time, and they're going to rely upon this season to really kind of take this defense up a notch that lost a key player like Chandler Jones. It's their time, but it's not their time. Right. It's Isaiah Simmons' time here. Look, to run with the defensive backs, which is great. Like beggars can't be choosers in this scenario. Like I just want Isaiah Simmons on the field. So this is less about him at this point. Tweener, he's going to play in the secondary. He's going to play in the base defense. Hopefully, he did talk today that he's going to play some inside backer. Like he does view that as his primary position. So like shit, if they on third down, they got a bunch of wideouts out. He's got to go up against Travis Kelce in the secondary. I'm okay with that.
The stuff that's going on with Zaven Collins is incredibly concerning. And Bo, you told me about a soundbite before the show today that I had not heard. And it really just kind of continues to dig the grave of the former 16th overall pick. And I don't want to seem dramatic, but I will be Johnny Drama in the sense that this was a kid that was an academic All-American at Tulsa, I think for consecutive seasons. And you thought, okay, at the very least, he'll be able to garner an NFL playbook. And then, Bo, what took place today?
Well, we've got the clip of Isaiah Simmons. He's kind of talking about his leadership qualities, how he's trying to take a step forward as a leader, but also in that he kind of shed some light as far as his relationship with the second-year linebacker Zaven Collins.
I definitely want to exert myself more as a leader because that's just who I've been. You know, I don't really have a problem with saying something to anyone because at the end of the day, I'm not really here to be anybody's friends. We're all here to make we're all trying to get to the Lombardi Trophy. So, I mean, if you don't like what I'm saying, then you're probably in it for the wrong reasons because I'm not saying anything to hurt anyone's feelings, to call anyone out. It's just all for the better of us. And the thing is, when I'm saying this, I want people to say the same things back to me or else, like I said, we're not in it for the right reasons. So, yes, I would like to become a more prominent leader on this team. I feel like that's just who I've been, it's who I was at Clemson. So, I mean, shouldn't change here. I think a lot of it does, just being two young guys kind of controlling the defense. I feel like our chemistry together is really, really important. And I said this last year in an interview, like I didn't think that I was going to be friends with Zaven based off his interviews. But, he's actually grown into being one of my best friends on the team. So, I had to get after him a little bit last week, just telling them, like, come on now, like, we don't got time to be BSing around. We don't have to, like, the mistakes and stuff that we've been making before, we got to eliminate those and make new mistakes moving forward. And, it wasn't something he wanted to hear, but I think at the end, he realized that I was telling him that for the better of us, really the better of us, the team, opposed to just harping on him like everybody, because I know how he feels. Everybody's just at you, like, it's like he feels like you can't do anything right. And I'm just letting him know that's not what it was. It's just everybody's trying to get that Super Bowl ring at the end of the year. So that's all it is. And he understands, it's all love. It's all just everybody trying to get better.
That's super concerning.
Is Zaven Collins, it is concerning. Is Zaven Collins at the end of the day just going to be a guy who supremely gifted athlete that it never clicks at the NFL level? And I know we're only a year into this, but he's got his counterpart at inside linebacker echoing a lot of what he said last week, and to a lesser extent what Vance Joseph has said, where it's just like you just make too many mistakes, like you're a liability on the field.
Yeah, no, it's an absolute red flag. It's like going on a first date and the girl tells you she has 5 cats. Like that's an absolute like just red flag that this might not be going the direction you want it to go. It's not, hey, he can't do it, he's not going to do it, he's never going to do it, he's going to be overmatched. But right now, where you're here, like where Zaven said he was last week when he had his own press availability, and where a guy who describes him as one of his best friends on the team, that he had to get in his ear last week, that, hey, you're not doing the right thing. We can't make the same mistakes again. We've got to have new mistakes to learn. We can't be making the same damn mistakes we were doing in 2021. We got to get beyond. We got to learn from those already. So it's concerning. And he's saying, hey, I might not make the calls. I might be, playing this versatile role. It's not going to be on me to be this Mike guy anymore. It's like, well, okay, we're backpedaling from where we thought you were originally going to be, a 16th overall pick out of Tulsa.
I think this was a question that was asked earlier today, and I think it warrants it being asked right now. With the Cardinals cap situation, what it is, and they have ample cap room. They can make any move they want to make. Should the Arizona Cardinals, and I think that hindsight, this was a mistake, should they have hung on Jordan Hicks for another season? Because there was a team in Minnesota Vikings that were quick to snatch him up, and the Cardinals signed Nick Vigil, who it looks like he's going to play a prominent role. Let me tell everybody who doesn't know this, and our fans are very educated. They know this already, but it bears repeating. Nick Vigil cannot lace up Jordan Hicks's cleats. They are not the same caliber player. And that's the reality of what we're going to see this season. I think it was a gross mistake. Jordan Hicks, friend of the program, by the way, came on right before their LA playoff game. I think it was a huge mistake letting him go now. You needed that as a contingency plan. And I think maybe they thought they had to do right by Jordan Hicks, which I appreciate. They let him go early in the offseason so he could find a new home, and he did quickly. But now you've got a young man in Zaven Collins, number 25, 16th overall pick, that, number one, can't call the defense, that does not sound like he's going to be an every down player. I got an article, gophnx.com, that you can read right now about why, given everything, just make it easy for this young man, kick him outside, let him play outside linebacker. You have to consume significantly less at that position. He played that position almost to a T perfectly against Dallas and Layla Collins last year in week 17. Check it out right now, gophnx.com. 99 cents for the first month, $8.99 for the subsequent month, or you become a member for the year, just under $60. You can read that article right now. But Bo, I think our initial thought was, we're going to talk about Isaiah Simmons playing in the secondary. Is that concerning? And then we hear that bite, and it's like, Isaiah Simmons right now is the least of our problems, because as people are in the comments saying this, he looks like the Hulk. I really do now believe, I didn't believe this maybe 2 weeks ago, Simmons is going to have the better season. Simmons they need him to be an ass kicker, top 10 pick, have a gaudy stat line each and every week, because I think Zaven Collins, complete enigma, complete unknown going into this year.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. I think that actually Isaiah Simmons is going to have a monster season.
Yeah.
I mean, he says that he's got 100% grasp of as far as the playbook. He's not only knows his role, he knows other roles. He's no longer drinking out of a fire hose any longer. Like, he knows he's just sipping it in now. It's a nice Four Peaks kit lifter. He's just sipping it down. That delicious, that wow that you're drinking right now. That's him in the playbook, and it's looking good. And it goes down smooth. Where he said, as Zaven Collins has taken it, he's like public enemy number one. He's somebody, and it's that tough love that I think the Arizona Cardinals are trying to beat into him right now. And sure, it's not exactly fun to be Zaven Collins, but they have to, at a necessity, for this guy not to, go the wrong direction and trend like he did in his rookie season. He's just got a long way to go. And as far as we're not counting him out, I'll say that again. I see Jose.
No, we root for it. We want him to do well.
But I mean, it's part of the system too. Like, it's not just the Zaven Collins thing. Like, we're seeing Isaiah Simmons go into year 3. We've seen guys that have gone into year 3, year 4, Hassan Reddick, where they didn't know if they could play at the NFL level. So that's where Zaven Collins is right now. Like, he's going to have to prove the rest of the way that he belongs at this level.
I'll play devil's advocate, and I'll say I'm Zaven Collins' dad, and I'm making a case for why it's not going well. And I'm going to put ownership a little bit on Vance Joseph, who clearly his scheme is not rookie friendly at the linebacker position. Because Isaiah Simmons, granted, he did not play an every down linebacker role at Clemson, but he played a higher level of competition and couldn't get on the field as a rookie. And so, is it fair to expect a kid that played in the AAC at the University of Tulsa to come in and completely grasp and take Vance Joseph's defense by storm? I think we all wanted that to be the case. I selfishly did. He was an every down linebacker. It's going to be a little bit more seamless. Like, I don't even know if we could get a tailor-made prospect that was a top 10 pick for this franchise that went to Alabama and played under Nick Saban and their defense and plugged into Vance Joseph's defense. I don't think that's good enough for Vance Joseph. And that's the unfortunate part, is I know that right now Zaven Collins is a better athlete, not football player, better athlete overall, has a much higher upside than Nick Vigil.
Right.
But I think we're going to see Nick Vigil at least through the first quarter, if not half of the season, for better or worse. If he struggles, we'll see what happens. But man, it's like 2 years ago it was Jordan Hicks and it was Devondre Campbell. Last year it was Jordan Hicks and a bunch of just mishmash. Tanner Vallejo started that playoff game. You are doing yourself a disservice continually taking first round top 20 prospects at the linebacker position, and then not only kind of misusing them and fumbling their development, but you don't even play them. It doesn't make any sense. And it's the reason why this team right now is Kyler Murray and a little bit top heavy as a roster.
Well, it's unfortunately putting another body on the field, because if you have Zaven and he's not playing Mike, and you've got Isaiah Simmons and he's not playing Mo or Sam, and he's playing maybe more nickel, that means you have to make room on the defense for 2 actual linebackers most of the time. Like, you're going to have Nick Vigil out there. You're going to have Tanner Vallejo. So you're having 2 guys who are not replacement level caliber players playing significant snaps in your defense, where you already have, on the interior defensive line, you're rolling the dice as far as what you're going to run out there. Is it going to be Lecky Fotu? Is it going to be Rashad Lawrence? Is it somebody they haven't signed yet? So the second level of your defense is going to be Vallejo at times and Nick Vigil. Like you're really handicapping yourself by these guys not having a real role, a defined role. And it's as much as I think Isaiah Simmons can handle that, Zaven Collins, I don't know if he can. The thing is, like, Dallas was able to find a way to utilize, and I know they're not the same athlete, but it's not far off. I mean, it was 5 picks in the draft between Micah Parsons and Zaven Collins. Like, you can't find a way to utilize a gifted athlete like Zaven Collins. There's an issue there.
Well, we saw mock drafts. Now, granted, it was because of Micah Parsons off the field concerns.
Yeah.
We saw mock drafts leading up to that Thursday night that Micah Parsons fell behind Zaven Collins, and Zaven Collins was going over Micah Parsons in certain mock drafts. And I detail it in my article. The Raiders were going to take Zaven Collins at pick, I think, 18, 19, or 20, wherever they picked at the tail end of the teens. Zaven Collins is not some wash prospect that had no business going where he did. But I think, to your point, it's like, does Vance Joseph put these rookies in the best position to succeed? Of course not. Dan Campbell did that last year. That's why I think a lot of us were like, if you can make an upgrade at coordinator that is more, I don't know, youth friendly, you may want to look into that. But everything that came out with Steve Wilkes, and they wanted continuity, and I get that. But man, oh man, what makes this Rodney Hudson news that much more concerning is it just feels like the defense is going to have to figure shit out for the first couple weeks of the season, if not longer. And you're going to need Kyler Murray in that offense. All cylinders go, right? And the offense might have to win games 35-32 or 40-35 or whatever until they figure out what exactly this defense is. Because man, oh man, right now on paper, they are significantly worse last year. No Chandler Jones. There's no Robert Alford right now. There's no Jordan Hicks. You've got uncertainty with J.J. Watt's health. So, you're not in a good spot defensively. And right now, there's not a lot you can do to ease that. There's not a free agent you can go out and sign. You've kind of made your bed. This is what you have. So you better make the most of it, Bo.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was hot out there today. Of course, summer temperatures, they're heating up. And, of course, wanting everybody to stay healthy out there. COVID-19 vaccines, they're free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for that booster. We're 2 years into this thing. There isn't a better option right now than getting that shot. COVID-19 vaccines free for everyone 5 and older. As I said, 12 and older, you're eligible for that booster. Numbers are rising. Put your family in the best position to stay safe and stay healthy. Get out there online. Visit azhealth.gov/findvaccine. Find a location near you. That's azhealth.gov/findvaccine for location near you.
It is over my man's left-hand shoulder. If you're interested in trying the amazingly delicious variety of flavors for our brand new sponsor, check out OG's. OG's Brands has plenty to offer. Visit ogbrands.com/ that's ogsbrands.com to find the closest one nearest to you. They've got a ton of quality flavors. My favorite, of course, pina colada, but they've got creamsicles, blackberries, cream, watermelon, chill indica, uplifting sativa, whatever you want. It's Frank Sanders, edible of choice, by the way. The great Frank Sanders. We had somebody on the podcast earlier. Where is Frank? Frank will be back on Thursday and Friday. And who knows, might dabble into some OGs. Not on the program, of course, but we love OGs. We love all of our sponsors here. And speaking of sponsors, Bo, we're going to close with this. I thought this was interesting because it got a lot of blowback on the Twitter streets today. So the NFL came out today, and they basically said, hey, we're not making Pizza Hut the official pizza of the NFL anymore. I didn't know that Pizza Hut was the official pizza.
Really?
Once upon a time, I think it was Papa John's. And
you don't remember Daryl from The Office, like every other commercial during a playoff football game?
I blocked that out. It was Papa John's once upon a time. Papa got in a little bit of trouble. And so they went to Pizza Hut, and now they've pivoted. They've pivoted to an old friend here. So starting this year, the NFL announced that Little Caesars is now the new official sponsor of the NFL, pizza sponsor, replacing Pizza Hut. And boy, oh boy, there it is right there. So I'm a little bit frustrated because the outreach of anger on social media today was like, who eats Little Caesars? We hate Little Caesars. I haven't been to a Little Caesars in 10 years. We will not stand for that on this podcast, or at least I won't. So most of you know I live in Maricopa, Arizona. The culinary options are, let's just call them limited for your boy. And so it's always a good idea to pick up a Little Caesars pie.
Oh my God.
And so, I want to show everybody right now, one of the best combinations you can make. You can support PHNX with a Four Peaks Brewery.
Will you stop
beer.
this?
And then you can dive in a little bit of Caesars. This is how your boy does it. So you get the pizza, right?
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Sponsorship of the NFL. Cheesy jalapeno. You do one of these here. You do one of these maneuvers. That's good stuff. Now, a lot of people say this is cardboard pizza. It's not.
Look how thick it is.
It's a step above that. I got this pizza. I walked in before the show today. $6 for this pizza. If that doesn't scream NFL availability, price, you can't go wrong with it. So I was pretty excited about this move. I will not stand for it. Their crazy bread is on point. Cheesy jalapeno, fantastic. Little Caesars now the official sponsor of the NFL. Look at that crazy bread.
Are they sponsored our podcast? Why do we have to go to bat for Little Caesars like this?
Because number one, it's great. As Saul says,
it's not.
What?
It's not.
All right.
It's just barely even top 5 as far as the delivery pizza options. It's not better in Domino's. It's not better in Pizza Hut. It's not better in Papa John's.
It's dethroned Pizza Hut. It's going. You know what Little Caesars? I've
got Hungry Howie's above it as far as my rankings.
I don't even know
what the hell is that.
The Batman calzone. The Batman calzone. Once upon a time, Sherry and I were going to get. They were sold out because people love them. I've never been to a Little Caesars that wasn't packed. So if nobody's eating them, then why is it always crowded when I go into Little Caesars? Here's what Little Caesars is going to be. Once upon a time in the 90s, Little Caesars reigned supreme. Pizza, the little guy. Everybody loved that, right? A Kurt Warner rise out of nowhere with the St. Louis Rams. Then it's fallen some tough times. It had to back up Eli Manning for a little bit. It's come now, risen from the ashes here in the desert. And now I think we're going to be talking about the NFL buying low on Little Caesars.
It never played at a Kurt Warner level, though. It was never Kurt Warner on the Rams. No.
Your recency bias, Little Caesars in the 90s.
No, there's not recency. Now. Like, I've had it. It's been bad. It's stayed bad.
It's not bad.
It's never going to get good.
Well,
I'm disappointed in the NFL that they would actually let Little Caesars buy them and try to just pawn this off like it's equal to the rest of the pizza delivery places.
18 months from now, Little Caesars is going to be the number one takeout pizza in America. It will take over. Just wait. Roger Goodell, their marketing conglomerates, the geniuses at the NFL front offices will make Little Caesars the most elite takeout pizza again. I can't believe Little Caesars
pretty much like bankrupt the city of Detroit? Didn't they just screw them over on like a stadium deal too? Aren't they just awful people? And you're gonna sit there and you're just gonna eat their pizza, pretend you like it.
Johnny, can we make a bet of some sort where if you lose, you have to dress up as the Little Caesars man?
I'll do that for free. I'll do that if we win.
Okay, let's do it on Friday.
Well, I'm a little busy.
Please stop taking bites of that horrible pizza.
Oh man,
it's awful for
what we do in Maricopa. There's a Denny's, there's an IHOP, and motherfucker, there's a Little Caesars. Be sure to like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. This is what we do here at PHNX. We have a great time. We eat the best pizza money can buy for $6.50. They threw in this dipping sauce for free,
by the way. It's way better than Little Caesars.
Well,
way better.
Let's get 4 pizzas in Arizona. Maybe our GM can pull some of his weight, and we can get that going in Maricopa.
I don't know if they want to go out there where it's like it's the venerable family and who else in Copa.
The clientele. It's a little dicey. Not here on PHNX, though. Be sure to like, subscribe, fam. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Maybe we'll have resolution on the Rodney Hudson scenario tomorrow. Maybe we get an Adam Schefter tweet. Maybe your boys here, PHNX, here or something. But in the meantime, be sure check out gophnx.com. 99 cents for the first month, $8.99 for the subsequent months. Become a member, just under $60. Hang with myself, Bo, and others. Membership Discord. Can't wait to party with you guys later this year. Our tailgates are going to be off the chain when the season kicks off. PHNX Sports on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast. For Bo Brock, I'm Johnny Venerable. Eat your pizza. We'll see you tomorrow.